Alright, what's up guys? So today we're going with a new video here, and this was requested by none other than Cyberwolf MC. So thanks so much for the request, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to this guy. He asked about Snake's aerials, when to use Snake's aerials and benefits of his aerials and so on and so forth. So it's gonna be the video of a tutorial on his aerials. So Snake's aerials aren't like the best, but they are pretty damaging, and they are very important to use in my opinion. So this is his neutral air, this is his up air, this is his down air, this is his back air, and this is forward air. Rule number one, I never use forward air. I don't really see the need to use a forward air unless if you're styling on someone, or if you believe you can get an easy stock to just actually spike them. That's really the only time I'll use forward air. Or again, styling, or if you're, you know, just in a big lead, just want to try to close it out, whatever. That's the only time I'll use forward air. Never on stage. There's no reason to ever use this on stage. If you ever see me do it on stage, it was a misinput. That's really all there is to it. Up air. So up air I normally do either one of two things: falling up air, depending on the character. If it's a short character like Pikachu or Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Kirby, Meta Knight, you get my drift. It's not gonna hit them. A falling up air will not hit them. Now, a character that's about the same size as Snake or bigger, and a falling up air would land. Now, why do I do the up air? I do the up air if back air is not gonna land. So like if I'm coming from the top rope, as they would say, or from upstairs, if I'm not gonna land the back air, if I do a back air, I'm gonna miss, right? But if I do an up air, it's gonna land. So that's one thing to mention there. Back air is definitely and I'll also do up airs like if they're above me. That's really not something that's gonna happen very often that I would do personally, but I have seen quite an amount of Snake players actually do it. And for good shield pressure, if someone is on a platform above you and they're shielding, you could just do some up airs, or if they're not shielding, you know, you can still go for the up air. So that's really the only time I would use them. Okay, so back air is, in my opinion, my favorite and best aerial for Snake, because the hitbox lasts so long. As you can see, notice how long it lasted from the top all the way to the bottom. The top of his jump all the way to the bottom, and it still hit him. 10%, not bad. So back air is definitely a lot of things you could do with it. You could approach with the back air like that. You could do it out of shield. So like if you're shielding here and they hit you, you could do a back air. So that would be a nice option to punish, because down air may not hit. It could potentially with this character, but it could not hit. So back air is just going to be better, in my opinion. So you could again use it for an approach system. You could, since it lasts so long as well, you could just do it out of shield in general, like just short hop, fast fall, back air. And if they run up and they grab you, they attempt to grab you, but instead you jumped, you can just hit them with the back air. So stuff like that could happen. But primarily it is very good to land as far as when you're recovering high and you think they're going to come up and hit you, and your back air could come out, you think your back air could come out faster and hit them first before they do their aerial. Amazing. Beautiful. You can hit them that way. Another thing as well is if your opponent is recovering low, doing a back air like that could help hit them, and then they would hit the stage and potentially get stage spike if they're not ready to tech or anything like that. One thing Ally does as well is he likes to do like 2 back airs. So he'll do like 1 and then he'll try to hit the second one like that. That's one thing that I see. That's pretty much it. That's really the biggest benefits of a back air. And the next one is going to be his down air. Definitely another one of his best. It's one of his most damaging. Doing a 20% there pretty much. And it's 4 hits, so they can't power shield it, because if they do, they'll get hit by the rest of the hits. Or maybe they can power shield the last one. But whatever. So you can also fast fall it and then try to lead into something else. So that is one thing as well that you can do. Because of the stun animation that happens. It's not really something I practice a lot, so, but that is one thing. It is one of his best options for out of shield. So if somebody out of shield is when you're shielding and then someone hits you, and then what do you do out of the shield to punish them? And his biggest thing is down air, because it comes out so fast. So that is one thing that you should definitely understand about his aerials as far as that goes. So again, I personally prefer back air if they're behind you, but if they're in front of you and your out of shield option would be down air. That's my opinion. So that's really the best thing as far as using his down air goes, or you could even approach with it, because it also gives Snake that floaty effect, which makes it hard for your opponent to actually punish you for it, because of how floaty he is. So that is one thing that you should definitely take into consideration as well. And then from there, the last one is going to be his neutral air. Neutral air does 25%. Huge damaging for an aerial. So it does 25%. Now, another thing as well, they can't get out of it. Once they get hit in the first one, normally the first kick will suck them in, and so will the rest of the hits to lead into the last hit. So one way of using this, I normally use it out of explosives. So if like this grenade exploded, and then I'll try to go in with like a neutral air or something like that, you know, something like that. That's normally what I use neutral air for. Also, if they're like off stage, let's say they're off stage, you can like use that to try to push them out more. But back air is also a good option for that as well. So that's another thing to mention. A huge thing that is done by the great Ally is first hop of neutral air. First hit of neutral air. So if you can time it right, you can lead it into an up tilt. I don't believe you can get out of it. Like, you can do other things like grab, but they can actually jump out of it at that point. I think down tilt as well they can just jump out of it. You can sticky them too. You know, stuff like that. So that is one thing to actually make sure that you guys understand. You could also fast fall it while you hit them. See, so you can just fast fall it. So that could also help as well. Just to be aware of, like, once you land that, if you don't want to just get that last hit in, you instead want to do something else, you can just fast fall it and then do something like that. And so on and so forth. That's really the only time I'll use neutral air though, just in those situations. As far as like rushing with it, like going in like this, if he's literally standing here, if your opponent's here and then you want to rush in, Like, neutral air is okay. It's not like the best option, but it's good to mix up. I think down air is just a little bit better because of how floaty he is, so it's a little bit harder to actually to actually punish it. So that's one thing to mention as well. Another thing with down air, by the way, is if someone, depending on like whatever projectile it is, like let's say you're in a Snake Ditto and an Akita is coming after you, or a PK Thunder or something like that, you can do a down air and it'll actually hit the projectile and it steer it away. If it's a Nikita or if it's a PK Thunder, it'll just cancel it, which is great. Same thing with the back air, but with the back air you have to make sure that the projectile is at Snake's hips or lower, because that's where his hitbox is at. So you can do the same thing that way. It's just a little bit harder to hit, because if they hit you on from like the chest or the head, then you're gonna get hit by the projectile. So it is kind of it's more precise with that. But with the down air, it's covering Snake's whole body from the bottom, and most projectiles come from under. So that's one thing that would definitely help you out. That's really it. Another big thing too with C4, like if I'm coming up from above and let's say they're next to a C4, I can detonate it and then go for a back air, which is my main thing that I usually go for, because Snake has a longer hitbox because of his back air, because back air covers like this much length of horizontal range. So if your opponent DIs left or right, that back air covers more distance of that. The most stylish one, like, you know, the most styling one or whatever is landing the up air. But the up air is harder because it's just linear. So if you have this whole section of where your opponent can DI and you got that straight line, it's not really covering a lot of space. So, but when you do land it, it is great because it has the most knockback as well when you do that, so you could potentially get an earlier kill. So that is one thing that you guys should understand as well. I primarily go for the back air, but if they're like, maybe I like a kill percent, I'll go for an up air at that point. But that's when they're above you. So if you're doing a C4 above you, or they're getting hit by a grenade or something, normally try to mix it up, try to follow it up with an aerial. But if they're on the ground, then you could try to get like a neutral air from there. I don't know about back air. I prefer neutral air. It's just more damaging, provides more percentage as well. So I really hope that helps you out, Cyberwolf MC, and many others that had questions about his aerial game. Again, Snake is not really an aerial character. I don't recommend being in the air with him. So that's my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Comment down below if there's anything you guys need help with, or anything you want me to make a video of specifically, and I'll be here to help you guys out. Thank you again, and hopefully we get to 1,000 subs. I hope we get there. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Thank you again for watching. See ya.